Today we will be talking about one of the other aspects that one of the other problems that India is facing, which is the India's agricultural crisis. I think everybody has already talked a lot about the privatization. So I'll be talking about the agricultural crisis. So one of the key economic challenges in our Indian culture is the current agricultural crisis that we are facing. So India's agriculture actually employs 40 to 50% of the workforce, but it only contributes to 15% of the GDP, which is indicating extremely low levels of productivity and income disparity. The major issues that are resolving this are fragmented landholdings, wherein 86% of the farmers actually own less than 2 hectares, making the mechanization difficult. There is an over-dependent on monsoon, wherein nearly 50% of farmland is rain-fed, leading to extreme volatility. There are market research and middleman exploitation, where farmers only receive 30 to 40% of final consumer price. And then there is rising indebtedness and distress. So over 50% of the farmers are in debt, which is leading to distressed sales and society. The number is especially huge in Maharashtra, Punjab, and Punjab. So now let's just look at some of the historical concepts behind this and how the past policy have shaped this crisis that we face. So let's talk about one that was actually pretty good. So one was Green Revolution, which boosted yields in Haryana, in Punjab and Haryana. But there was a major issue with this, wherein it completely ignored the eastern India, like Bihar and Odisha. What this eventually led to, while it did definitely lead to an increase in the production, was it led to water depletion and soil degradation in the breadbasket states. The next act that we will be talking about is the AMC Act, which was there in 1968, which created regulated markets, but then entrenched the middlemen and the cartels. Then we have one that is still there, which is the farm loan waivers. It has been ongoing since 1990s. It provided temporary relief, but it also worsened the financial health and the credit discipline of the farmers. So now let's just look at a couple of regional disparities to further understand this problem. So in Punjab and Haryana, the key issue is the ecological collapse, where the groundwater has depleted and the water table is actually falling by zero point 0.5 meter per year. And for groundwater to deplete that much, it's actually very good. For Bihar and Odisha, there is extremely low productivity, which means that there is less than 1.5 ton per hectare that is actually growing. And the major reason for this is the poor irrigation. For Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh, the number of farmer suicides is extremely high. This is due to the cash crop failure that is happening. Now let's take a look at all of these from the point of view from global context. So let's talk about China. So China has agri GDP and workers 5 times India's. The gaps in India, which we can see from China, are that we have worse supply chains and worse agro processing as a whole. Israel is actually 90% efficient. That is due to the drip irrigation system that is there. And honestly, in India, it is only about 10% of micro irrigation coverage. So that is genuinely bad. As for Netherlands have extremely high exports. So they have 7 lakh crore per year exports. Meanwhile, for India's agri export, for the amount of land that we have and for the amount of population that is in agriculture, we only have 3 lakh crores, which is in comparison genuinely extremely sad. So now let's look at how we can actually deal with this problem. So let's look at some of the multi-phase solutions. So in phase one, what we can do is actually get some short-term stabilization, wherein we reduce the immediate distress, improve the market access. We can expand the current ENAM, which is the National Agricultural Market for all states, and strengthen the farmer producer organization for collective bargaining. Also, we do need to reform the APMC laws. However, we need to do it in a better way so as to avoid the 2020 style backlash. The next one would be the modernization, which we will call the phase two. Our entire goal during this would be to boost productivity and reduce the post-harvest losses. So the major thing would be to introduce the micro irrigation and water conservation technique. So basically, like scale up the PM Krishi Sinyashi Yojana. Then we also need to get the precision farming and AI-based advisory for weather smart cropping. Even if we're going to be dependent upon weather, we need to have those AI tools. And then we can do the cold storage and processing. The next phase will be the phase three, which will be the long-term transformation, which we can, in which we, our major goal would be to shift to high value and sustainable farming. So we need to have brand racing reform. Our MSP needs to be replaced by direct income support. For example, a great example of this would be Telangana's Raitu Bandhu scheme. However, if you are replacing any MSP related thing, we need to have raised proper awareness about that to all the farmers around the country. So that should be the first aim. And the next one is, as mentioned, the climate smart farming. We need to ensure that that happens. There are obviously going to be some barriers to that reform, which would be the political economy changes, the implementation failures, for which we need to increase the education about what those policies will actually do. And for the final recommendations, what I would give is that we need to replace the MSP with cash transfers by telling them how we are going to do it and why it helps them, by investing in R&D of this entire in the entire agriculture department, and to promote cooperative farmers such as Amul style success in crop. Otherwise, without any of these reforms, India would face things like rising food inflation, escalating farmer protests, and ecological collapses in, like in Punjab. Haryana. That's it. Thank